Hi, in this video I want to talk to you a little bit about digestion and the digestive system, and just put it out there in layman's terms so that you can understand where probably most of people's problems come from, which is the digestive system. So that's where you're going to extract all of your nutrients from. So basically everything goes into your mouth. So your air, your water, and your food goes into your mouth. Your air takes a different path, obviously, and goes to your lungs. The rest of it goes into your digestive system. So if that's not working properly, you can imagine what starts to happen to the body. So let's start off with the first part of the digestive system, which is your stomach. So you eat your food, it goes into your stomach. And your stomach acid has to be quite acidic to be able to break down that food so that it can go into your intestines and start to get absorbed as nutrients. Otherwise, if it isn't broken down and it goes into your intestines, it isn't going to get broken down even further to be able to become a nutrient for you. It's just going to go straight through and out the back door. So you need to have quite an acidic stomach acid. And if you're getting heartburn or GERD or acid reflux, it means that your stomach acidity is too alkaline. It's not too acidic. Although you might say, yeah, no, definitely I can feel that it's quite acidic. Yes, absolutely it is. But the pH balance is too alkaline. That's why it comes through the sphincter valve in the top of your stomach and back into your esophagus and burns you. That's what it does. If it was too acidic, if it was acidic enough, it would go into your esophagus and basically break down your esophagus and digest it like it would digest food. So it doesn't make sense that when your stomach is too acidic that you get acid reflux and heartburn and all these things. So you have to have acidity in your stomach. And I'll come back to another role that acidity plays, or stomach acidity plays, as I go further along the digestive tract. So then the next thing that happens is once this food has been broken down, it goes into a little compartment just as it's entering the small intestine, and your bile and digestive enzymes from your pancreas and your bile from your gallbladder get squirted into that little area just before the small intestine. And that is very alkaline, and it alkalines that stomach acid that was very acidic, because you don't want to be digesting your small intestine either now. So it makes it more alkaline, but not completely. It still has to be rather acidic, because if it's not, and if it's too alkaline, that causes other problems, which again goes back to the acidity or alkalinity of your stomach acid. If it goes into your small intestine and it's not acidic enough, it will cause SIBO. So that means the bad bacteria, or it's not really bad bacteria, it's the bacteria from your large intestine creeps through a little valve into your small intestine. It's not supposed to be there, but it overwhelms all the microbes in your small intestine, and they call it small intestinal bacterial overgrowth. And that's because your stomach acid isn't acidic enough. So obviously then it also mustn't be too acidic, but it mustn't be too alkaline when it goes into your small intestine. So you're getting the drift here. It's got to be just right. So if it's not, the balance goes off and you start to get all sorts of issues already occurring. So now, here's the next thing. So let's backtrack a little bit to the bile. So you have your liver, which extracts toxins from your blood, and it doesn't store toxins. The liver doesn't store toxins. So all this rubbish about liver detoxes is all just a marketing rubbish. It's like your liver doesn't store toxins. Your liver fat stores toxins. So when you have a fatty liver, it stores toxins in the liver fat, but it doesn't store it in the meat of the liver. Those toxins go into the gallbladder, and it helps create bile. So it takes a bit of estrogen, a bit of cholesterol and stomach acid, like sulfuric acid, and it makes this bile, which is a solvent or a detergent that breaks down fat and protein in the small intestine. So it breaks it down into small enough particles so that it can get absorbed through the intestinal walls, the porous intestinal walls, into the system as nutrients. So then your digestive system is working perfectly and everything's going hunky-dory. So now you have your food breaking down because you have enough stomach acid, you have enough bile to break the fat particles down and your protein particles. You have your pancreas, which is excreting digestive enzymes, and everything starts to work well. The bacteria that wants to come through from the large intestine, doesn't come through because it's too acidic, the environment for it there, and everything starts to work well. So what happens when you're eating a high carbohydrate, high sugar, Western type of diet is that firstly, you start to go very high in estrogen. So there's estrogen everywhere. There's a sea of estrogen out there. It's in everything. If your food is not organic, it will have either estrogen or it will have a herbicide, pesticide, or fungicide that mimics estrogen in your body. So when you have high estrogen, it makes your bile very thick and it can make your bile create gallstones. So you get these stones in your gallbladder, and these little stones or the sludge go out into the bile duct because it's going to go into a small intestine. But when it goes into the bile duct, it's too sludgy and it blocks it. So then it backs up and it backs up into the liver, and then the liver starts backing up into the system where it's not supposed to back up into, and you start to get yellow eyes, you start to get yellow skin, you get rashes on your skin, and it starts to show in your stool. You'll find that your stool becomes very light, starts to float, it becomes very greasy, it leaves skid marks on the bowl, and it's very bad odor, and you either get constipation or you get the other one, the other side of it, the diarrhea. So that's what happens when there's a mess up with the bile. But now something more can happen when the bile is too thick, or when you have gallstones. So those gallstones pop out of the gallbladder when the gallbladder squeezes, because the gallbladder squeezes when it senses fat or proteins that have been eaten, mostly fat, squeezes that concentrated bile out so it can break down those fat particles into the small enough particles to be absorbed. But the problem then comes in is that the stone goes out there, or the sludge goes out there, and it might make its way through the bile duct, but there's another duct that comes from the pancreas with the digestive enzymes. And these meet in what you call the common duct. Some people call it the common bile duct. And that common duct then goes into that little compartment that goes into the small intestine. Now what starts to happen is, if it makes its way down that little stone, then it blocks that common duct, and those digestive enzymes back up into the pancreas, and it starts to cause inflammation and even digest the pancreas. So then the person starts to get something called pancreatitis. So this can all come from a bad diet, which is eating too much dairy, eating too much GMO type foods, processed carbohydrates, sugar. All of that causes this problem. When you start eating a diet that has healthy fats, moderate protein, healthy vegetables, it starts to balance it out. So if you do have these gallbladder issues, you'll find that your right shoulder will start to become sore, or the scapula, the shoulder blade, starts to become sore, and it feels like you have pressure there and you have a nerve trapped, which is exactly what is happening. And you might even get a sore neck on the right hand side up into the right hand side of your head. When it starts affecting your pancreas, you have the same thing occurring on the left hand side, and it's something called the phrenic nerve, which the gallbladder or the pancreas or both press on, and that goes up into the scapula, the shoulder, and into the neck. So then someone is going, I've got this old injury on my shoulder and it doesn't matter what I do, it doesn't go away. Probably a gallbladder thing. You'll also find that a person won't have the ability to absorb their fatty nutrients, things like omega-3s, your vitamin A's, your D's, K2s, E, all of these things don't get broken down into small enough particles to be absorbed through the intestinal walls. So what starts to happen then? You start to get deficiencies in those vitamins, which means if you're a vitamin A deficient, you'll find that your eyes start to deteriorate. So people go, yeah, I'm reaching 40 now, and my eyes have gone. And that's exactly what happened to me. I mean, my eyes just went at 40, like I had perfect eyesight. My eyesight went at 40. It did improve when I started eating healthy, but probably the damage was already there. The other thing that may happen is your immune system starts to take strain because you don't have enough vitamin D. You suffer more from things like jet lag. You can't sleep properly. And all of these kinds of things start to happen when you're not absorbing your fatty nutrients. And you're going, but I'm taking my fatty nutrients. I take vitamin D every day. I sit in the sun. I take my vitamin E. I haven't really felt the difference with the vitamin E, but I take my vitamin E because it's apparently good. Vitamin A, I take every day. I don't understand why my eyes are like this. So those are all indicators that there's something going on with the gallbladder. And the other thing that starts to happen is you start to get very dry skin on your eyebrows. I used to have it. I used to have this dry skin between my eyebrows like dandruff. And I was like, what the hell is this about? And it was all to do with the gallbladder. So I look after my gallbladder all the time. I make sure that I take anything I can that can smooth out that bile, and I don't eat anything that will make it thick. So there you go. It's pretty much that's how the digestive system works. And then obviously here's the other thing with the bile. So it goes through the system. It's got all this stuff mixed in it, all these hormones and chemicals, and it's got all these toxins. So the liver takes its toxins and it dumps it into the bile, and that goes with the bile through the system into the colon, and it excretes those toxins out the back door with the feces. And when then the bile, the rest of the bile, 90% of it goes back into the system, and it goes back around to the liver and goes back down into the gallbladder, and the liver puts everything back in it that it's supposed to put in it, and it does another round. But if it gets blocked, obviously it does a round, and then it gets blocked and starts backing up. And then you find people with these beer bellies that are hard like basketballs and so on, and their health starts to deteriorate. You start getting achy joints. There's all sorts of symptoms as a result. And obviously Western medicine is, we just chop out your gallbladder. The problem with that now is that you don't get enough bile at mealtime to break down your proteins and your fatty nutrients. So you're still not getting them. You're feeling a lot better because you're not getting your gall attacks, but you're not getting your fatty nutrients. The right way to go about this is to take a whole lot of bile salts, because bile salts will continue to go around the system, and every time it comes through, it smooths that bile out a bit more, and it gets it more and more fluid, and it even breaks down gallstones, which are literally cholesterol stones. And it doesn't mean if you have high cholesterol, you're going to get cholesterol stones. It has nothing to do with that. High cholesterol has nothing to do with anything, in fact. But it just means that those stones get formed and they can cause blockages. So I hope you learned something about your digestive system. If you want to handle your health and you don't really know where to start, do our program. Our program is very simple, very strict, and it will help you in ways that you have never thought of. We've handled people who've had digestive issues for 30 years, never being diagnosed properly. And we've come along, put the guy on the correct supplements, the correct diet, and within sometimes a few days, this guy's digestive system starts to improve. Heart problems, when you start feeding the body what it's supposed to have and take out the things that it's not supposed to have, it's obvious that everything's going to start to recover. You're giving your body a chance to recover. And don't leave it too late. And I don't mean this as a scare tactic. I mean it earnestly. Don't leave this too late. I left it too late. Look at me, I'm standing here with thick glasses on. I messed up my eyes. I messed up a whole lot of other stuff in my body. Fortunately, I caught it before my health really deteriorated. But I think I was probably diabetic when I started eating this way approximately 13 years ago. So please follow us on YouTube and all of our social media. Contact us to do our program. We also have an affiliate program where you can make a bit of money on the side referring our program to others. But if you do the program, you'll want to refer it to others because you'll see the benefits that are to be had on this program, and they are immense and many. So I hope you enjoyed this video, and I hope I helped you in some way.